Hi everyone. Thank you for inviting me today, and hope I'm there. But thanks to technology, I'll be able to share with you what green finance is. By the way, I'm Charlotte Kemel Turk, and as mentioned, I'm the first president of UST JFINEX. So it's amazing to be here and speak to all of you. I'm currently the regional investment lead for the Pacific with Global Green Growth Institute, and currently the CEO of Clean Earth Project. It's a small business that I started during in 2019. So yeah, I have 13 minutes, so I'll go straight ahead and do the presentation and hope you gain something out of it, right? Okay. So, what is green finance? Green finance, for you to understand, I think we have to go through first the science and then the interventions. The third is the commitment, and then we go through the green finance examples or the financial instruments. So first, we need to understand why do we need green finance, diba? The reason why we need green finance is because of the major issue right now, which is climate change. So ano ba nagkakos ng climate change? Um, the major one that we always use in terms of the terminology is the GHG emissions or the greenhouse gas emission. So, ano ba yung greenhouse gas emission? As the word itself, it's gas. Pero basically, when you were in high school, elementary, di ba, you remember, you inhale the oxygen and then you exhale carbon dioxide or CO2. So apparently, it's not just us, human beings, that emit CO2. Everything we do emits carbon dioxide. Yung mga factories, nag-release sila ng GHG gas. Yung car mo na use of diesel gas also emits gas. And this gas, they stay in the atmosphere, di ba? So, ano ba yung nangyayari when you exhale carbon dioxide? Di ba it's absorbed by the tree. So, because there's so much GHG, hindi naman lahat na absorb ng tree, naiwan sila sa atmosphere. So, when it's in the atmosphere, um, these gases can absorb heat. 'Di ba pag nagsisiga ka or nagba-barbecue ka, you use charcoal and then nagstay yung heat there for a while. It's because may heating capacity sila. So just imagine a lot of that in the atmosphere and they collect heat. And that makes the weather hotter, 'di ba? Another thing is, etong mga GHG emission, they last for decades, right? So when you emit, it stays there for more than decades and then yun, kaya mas lalo siyang umiinit. So, because of that, yun yung cause ng global warming. And because of global warming, then nagkakaroon ng climate change. So, yun yung major issue. But what makes it even harder to do is there's increase in emission, 'di ba? Bakit nagkakaroon ng increase ng emissions? Nagkakaroon ng increase in population. So when there's more people, you need more gadgets, 'di ba? So you need to produce more. You need more electricity. Magkakaroon ng bagong houses, bagong buildings. You need more electricity. So nagkakaroon ng mas maraming emissions. Um, and then nagkakaroon din naman ng decrease of absorption. 'Di ba sinabi ko kanina, ina-absorb siya ng trees. So now, dahil nagkakaroon ng deforestation, di nababawasan din yung nag-absorb. So mas marami ngayon naiiwan na GHG sa atmosphere natin. That's a major issue. So ano ba yung mga causes ng decrease ng absorption? So yung deforestation, ano bang cause ng deforestation? Yung illegal logging, um, yung increase na population, so mas marami mong kailangan ng agriculture. So yung agriculture land is not enough to produce food for all the population. So they convert some of the forest into agriculture land. And because of that, konti na lang yung nag-absorb na. Other absorption mechanism is yung ocean and also yung wetlands. So, but we'll not tackle that kasi masyado na siyang detailed. Um, So on the upper right side, you can see yung greenhouse gas emission by sector. As you can see, 72% of it is coming from energy. And then around 18.4 is coming from agriculture. Then we have some small from waste and industry. So because of that, we need to create some technology as well to resolve those issues. So for energy, we have renewable energy. Kung narinig nyo na yan, that's what we call RE yan. Instead of burning coal or diesel, renewable energy uses the sun, the wind, the biomass, ganyan, to create energy. For agriculture, climate smart agriculture was also introduced. Yun, it's both practices and also and some technologies, but also encouraging people to use less poultry, yung vegan, sort of relates to climate change as well. Like for example, if you drink a lot of milk, because the major emission from agriculture is from livestock, especially cows, yung beef, so yung milk yan, malakas yung major emitter yan ng greenhouse gas emission. And also red plus for forestry, ganyan. So in a way, you're helping the communities to get a different ways of livelihood instead of cutting tree and selling it as a charcoal to mainland or selling it or having illegal logging. So yun yung mga green technologies. When you think about it, oh, meron naman palang resolution. So why don't we just do that? Syempre may key barriers yan. You cannot just, do that kasi lahat yan may cost. So these new technologies have very high cost and usually some of them are not financially feasible. You have limited access to financing due to technological maturity and ano tong isa, reliability. Di mo pa sure eh, di ba? Bago lang yan eh. And then, walang policy and regulations or kung meron man, hindi na-enforce correctly. And then, there's lack of awareness and education. And to top it all off, there's also commitment, di ba? So, sabi ng mga developing countries, bakit kami take ng technologies na napakamahal? 'Di ba? Wala kami enough eh. Sino ba yung major emitters? 'Di ba kayong mga developed countries? So bakit kami yung fino-force nyo ngayon? We also need to develop. But to develop, we need to emit GHG. But then you're telling us that we need to get more expensive ones. And then developed countries were like, sige, we'll help you, 'di ba? So that there's where the Paris Agreement came into effect, 'di ba? So we all the countries made a commitment of how much emission they will use. There's a conditional and non-conditional. So non-conditional is what they will commit by themselves, and the conditional is that if you help me, then I will commit for more GHG reduction. So the developed countries naman pledged that will give 100 million USD a year to help the developing countries to achieve their targets. So yun yung Paris Agreement in a very short sentence. So what are the green finance instruments then na ginagamit to resolve those issues, no? So we have grants. Grants are basically donations ng mga developed countries to underdeveloped or developing countries. We have blended finance, but blended finance I'll discuss more in the next slide. We have green bonds. If you've heard the green bonds, meron ng bago ngayon, blue bonds. So now we basically term this as sustainable bond or thematic bond para it's umbrella type. And then you have debt for nature swaps. I'll also explain this later. You have concessional loans, and then you have carbon offsetting. Ayan, so we go now to the example. So what is blended finance? This is one of the styles or instruments that we use in the climate finance. So blended finance is blending private and public finance para gumanda yung returns no project. for example, renewable energy. Um, the way to understand this is to go back to how IRR is calculated. Ano ba ang IRR? This is how you calculate, this is your means of verification whether to invest in a project or not, right? Or a business or not. And usually use a hurdle rate. So yun yung internal rate of return mo, and whenever the IRR is higher than your RRR, then you will invest, right? So ano ba yung major components ng calculation ng IRR? Siyempre yung initial outlay and then yung free cash flows. So for example, we have two technologies, yung diesel, which is normal. Pag bumili ka ng diesel power generator, mura lang siya. Pero ang mahal sa kanya is yung gas, yung diesel na you have to buy every time. So, technically, yung initial outlay niya is lower, but yung free cash flow niya is gonna be lower as well. So, pag kinalculate mo, yun yung maging IRR niya. Compared to a renewable energy usually have high initial outlay, but then higher yung free cash flow niya kasi lower yung cost niya kasi wala ka namang fuel na gagamitin, di ba? So, yun yung difference. Pero alam naman natin, pag nag-calculate ka ng IRR, mas importante ang initial outlay. The closer it is to the present, the higher yung value niya in terms of calculating the NPV and the IRR. So, the more that you can delay yung initial capital, or you can increase more yung cash flow mo closer to today, mas maganda yung effect sa IRR. So basically, if you just put it that way, di mananalo yung renewable energy, as in talong-talo siya, 'di ba? So here comes blended finance. So we have to be very creative in climate finance. Paano ba natin na ma-encourage yung mga companies na mag-invest sa green technologies? So first is you have to reduce the initial outlay. Paano mo reduce to? So there are different instruments. We use grants or subsidy. So yung government pwede na lang sabihin, "Oh sige, bawasan namin yung kapital para bumaba yung initial investment mo. On top of that, tatanggalin namin yung duty. Duty free ka na, ganyan. So bababa yung initial cost mo. Tapos dadagdagan namin ng duty yung gas para mas maging mahal siya, para makapag-compete siya. Another way is leasing, 'di ba? So hindi ka magbabayad, ang babayaran mo lang is yung cash flow. That's another model, pero yun, next time na yun. So yun, una, you can reduce yung initial outlay. Pero sometimes hindi pa siya enough. So kailangan mo rin increase yung free cash flow. Anong way mo to do that? You have to lower the interest rate. So mas lower yung interest rate niya kasi like banks will not give you similar, baka mas mataas pa yung interest rate na bigay sa'yo kasi bagong technology yan, hindi pa nila tested, di ba? So you need to lower the interest rate. And you can also extend the term to 15 years. That's what we did in the Philippines. And there's also some tax holidays, 7 years in the Philippines para ma-encourage lalo yung private sector to invest into renewable energy. So now, it's more sustainable, or mas okay na siya, or if not better, it's the same in terms of IRR for a company. So, kaya nagkaroon tayo ng renewable energy sa Philippines. Another example is debt for nature swap. So, we use this to finance yung mga biodiversity na projects. Bakit? Kasi wala namang mag-i-invest sa biodiversity, di ba? Kasi hindi naman siya direct na business, income eh. So, usually, government lang yung nagpa-finance nito. So, what usually happens is that there's another government that says, okay, kung 10% yung interest mo ngayon, gawin nating 5%. Now, the savings that you've got, you have to use that to fund the biodiversity of, let's say, a national park in the Philippines. So, ayun. And on top of that, there are actually climate funds, specialized funds that actually provide these types of instruments. So, nandyan yung GCF or Green Climate Fund. Adaptation Fund, and then we have the GEF or Global Environment Facility. And there's other more out there. You can also go straight to countries. We call that bilateral financing. So, ayun, maraming exciting sa ano sa green finance ang masasabi ko lang. Um, And yeah, that ends my presentation. Thank you so much for listening. And I'd like to encourage you then to support my handles. Yeah, and so if you can follow my business Instagram, and we also have a shop sa Lazada and shop. You can follow us there. And I also have a vlog. It's called Money and She. You can follow me there. Hindi pa ako nag-post lately, but in the future. So now I wanted to take this opportunity to encourage more um, youth to actually pursue a career in climate finance. We need more of you. We need a lot of great people to be in this space. It's challenging. It's a lot of work and thinking. But if there's more of us, diba, there's more push into choosing green technologies. And at the end of the day, we need more decision makers in the table to have those decisions. Anyways, that's all from my side. Thank you so much again. And I'll be online here for any questions that you have. And medyo nag-exceed ako sa time, pero yun lang. Thank you.